Hello everybody, my name is Kat Bowser. I'm your resident fantasy therapist and welcome to my channel. Those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Those of you who are returning, welcome back. Always good to see you again. For those of you who are new, my name is Kat Bowser. I am a licensed therapist, but I'm also a writer working on my first novel. So on my channel, I like to talk about what I consider to be the heart of writing, which is the characters. And the heart of the characters is their psychology. So everything we talk about on my channel will have a psychological angle because I think it's interesting to dig into not what the characters do, but why they do it. For today, we have the second video in the Love Week of Macienda's Spooktober. And she was gracious enough to allow me to help her out with the videos this week. So basically, Spooktober is a collection of videos that she is doing all month, all related to the spooky elements of October, so the paranormal and things like that. So what we're doing this week is we each selected a book and a movie to essentially review and give our thoughts on in relation to the love element of the paranormal. So for me, today, I decided to tackle probably my favorite paranormal romance. I'm going to take you guys back to the 1990s for this, so I apologize. I originally was going to do the first film, but then I was thinking about it and I realized the whole series is kind of like this, so I'm going to just make it about the whole series, and that is the anime of Inuyasha. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Inuyasha was an anime that came out in the 1990s. I want to say it started in 96. I think that's right. And it recently finished up in the early, I think it was the early 2010s when they aired the very last of it. But anyway, it's a very long anime. Not as long as some of the longest ones running, but in terms of an anime, it's kind of lengthy. So I'm not going to go over every single aspect of it because that would take too long. Instead, I'm going to talk about the aspects that relate to the paranormal romance within it. And heads up, I am going to spoil it. I'm going to be talking about specific elements within it. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, you probably don't want to be watching this video. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So first off, what is the overall story? Well, that is a complicated question because this is a complicated anime. But the bare bones basic story is that a young girl named Kagome is pulled through her family's well and ends up 500 years in the past in the Warring State era of Japan. And while she's there, she meets the half dog demon, half human Inuyasha. And they are set essentially on a quest to collect the shards of the Shikon jewel, which interestingly actually translates the soul jewel, which we find out later in the series. But anyway, that's beside the point. So they are on a quest to track down the shards of this jewel, because when the jewel is complete, it can grant its user any wish or desire they want. And needless to say, when it's in hands of not nice people, not good things happen. So that is the basic overall story. So Kagome goes back and forth between the modern era and the feudal era, helping to collect these shards. And she and Inuyasha are forced into a partnership and have to work together because Inuyasha has the strength and she has the sight. She can see the shards. And along the way, they meet various other characters, and they also uncover quite a bit about a demon or a half demon actually, called Naraku, who actually set up most, if not all, of the problems the characters face throughout the series. So there is not just one romance in here, but the one I'm going to focus on is my favorite, and that is Inuyasha and Kagome. Their romance, in my opinion, makes this series. This is why I come back and rewatch this series. And I really love it because it is a slow burn. And I know some people don't like that. In this case, I think it works exceptionally well. Reason being, When Inuyasha and Kagome first meet, Inuyasha is pinned to a tree. He has been sealed there by priestess Kikyo 50 years prior, when he was trying to steal the Shiganjo. And now that Kagome shows up, she frees him from the tree, breaks his enchantment, and they find out it's because she is Kikyo's reincarnation. Later on, a piece of her soul is used to resurrect Kikyo. And while they are learning about this resurrection, they find out that Naraku, the half-demon I mentioned before, actually set up Inuyasha and Kikyo to betray each other because they actually used to be a couple. And this is where I'm probably going to say something that's going to probably piss off a lot of Inuyasha fans, but this is my opinion. I don't think Inuyasha and Kikyo loved each other. I think they were in love with the idea of being in love. The reason I say that is that when you compare their relationship and his relationship with Kagome, they are vastly different. But like I said, I'm not going to go into in-depth, deep stuff on that because I want to focus on Inuyasha and Kagome right now. But that is important to have as a background. So basically, Inuyasha as a character is one of my favorite characters because he is very detailed. He is very complex. When we first meet him, he is understandably crude. He is angry. He is not letting anyone in. He doesn't trust anybody. In fact, he even flat out says it in one of the earlier episodes. I think it's episode 13, where one of his big secrets is revealed, and Kagome flat out asks him, "What happened to trusting your friends?" And he responds with, "I don't trust anybody." And the reason for that is being a half-demon, he doesn't really belong anywhere. He's rejected by the demons because he has human blood. He's rejected by the humans because he has demon blood. So there's not really anywhere for him to go. After his mother passes away, which happens when he's quite young, he's pretty much on his own. He has a half-brother who is a full demon who not only doesn't want anything to do with him, but wants him dead. Any humans he comes across either betray him or they don't want anything to do with him. So he's really had to learn to just depend on himself. Depending on other people does not come easy to him. And I love that this series does not buffer that. It's very, very clear that this is a guy who needs some time to heal and learn to trust people again. Now, there are situations where he will trust someone because he has no choice. But as the series goes on, he slowly starts to let people in. And Kagome is one of the people he starts to let in. But what I like is they don't have him have no redeeming qualities. He's not just this curmudgeon that doesn't want to trust anybody. He has a sense of right and wrong. He has a sense of morality. Like, one of his big things is protecting people that are weaker than him. And he also has a thing, he doesn't like to see particularly women cry because he feels like he should be doing something to stop it. He should be doing something to protect them. Actually, I can't use too many clips because I don't want this video to get flagged, but I think I can use a handful. So here is one of his first interactions when he and Kagome barely know each other.
What are you doing? You're not crying, are you? No crying!
Oh, should I laugh?
No, you should shut up and let me protect you!
So, like I said, little on the crude side, but I think the idea still comes through. But as the series goes on, we slowly see him changing and learning how to trust people, because it's very rare I see trauma done well in an anime. Normally, because we really can't usually afford to take time away from the plot to do it, but it really incorporates it into the plot. Inuyasha's inability to trust causes them problems. I mean, it gets them into situations, but at the same time, it's completely understandable. And Kagome is one of the few people who actually has the patience to deal with him. And one of those reasons, I think, is that she was raised in the modern era and very normal upbringing. She doesn't have a father. He, according to the Anna manga, he passed away in a car wreck when she was very young. She has her mother, she has her grandfather, and she has her little brother. But she was raised to express your feelings and learn how to and know how to talk to people and interact with people and have people skills. All things that Inuyasha does not have. But he slowly learns them by both talking with her and watching her. So she kind of serves as a role model for him. And at the same time, he is teaching her how to survive in his world. And what I like is that they do argue with each other. I mean, these guys, they don't always get along, and they both have their flaws. Like I said, Inuyasha's inability to trust. He's very blunt. He doesn't have a lot of people skills. Kagome, on the other hand, is not perfect either. She starts off very, I don't want to say whiny, but very dependent on him because she doesn't know how to fight. But she teaches herself how to shoot bows and arrows. She teaches herself how to take care of herself. She becomes very adept at tending wounds, things like that. So she learns as she goes. She tends to be hormonal and emotional, but she's 15. So, I mean, that's kind of a given. There is the issue of Inuyasha at the very beginning of the series gets a necklace that if Kagome says a specific word, it will pull him to the ground and it will essentially make him submit. And it was done when he was still trying to kill her. So when it was originally put on, I get why it was put on. And you know, if the writers of specific episodes are sticking with her manga characterization, she does abuse it a little bit at first. I'm not going to deny that she does that. But as she learns and she gets closer to him and she learns what works with him, she stops doing it. She does it less and less, and eventually it stops. And I like that because it shows that she is overcoming her flaws too. When these two first get together, it's definitely not a healthy relationship. I wouldn't go as far to call it an unhealthy relationship, but it's a relationship that needs help. And part of that has to do with Inuyasha is still kind of pining for Kikyo. But like I said before, I think it's more she was the first person that was kind to him. That's my opinion. But that does cause an issue with him and Kagome because Kagome starts to kind of fall in love with him, I think, fairly early on. I think as early as, like, I think episode 10, I think she really kind of starts to fall for him. And in that episode, he actually comes back to the modern era because he senses that she's in trouble. And he comes to save her. But he kind of starts to fall for her too, not too long after. But neither one of them really know what to do with it. Neither one really are sure what they're feeling or if they should be feeling this. And it's very complicated, but it's complicated in a good way. It adds a lot of drama to the series. And I am going to show you guys a clip right now because this clip right here is why I love Kagome with Inuyasha.
I want you to be happy. I want you to laugh a lot. I don't know what exactly I'll be able to do for you, but I'll always be by your side.
That is what a relationship should be. A relationship should be you wanting the best for your partner, and that is what Kagome wants. Likewise, Inuyasha comes to want that for her. It just takes him longer to realize it and come to the conclusion, okay, here are some things I'm doing I need to not be doing. And like I said, he's damaged. He has trauma, and it takes a while for him to get over it. And I think a lot of people get frustrated with that aspect of him, but I think it's very realistic because, you know, this is someone who grew up who had absolutely no support from anywhere, had to learn to depend on himself, got into a relationship with someone that he thought he loved, and got betrayed by them. That's not something that you get over with real easy. Um, and I'm going to throw one more clip in here because I think this is important to kind of explain his mindset.
Inuyasha, shouldn't we be staying?
Should we?
The villagers, they think Jinenji's been eating people. You know they do. Maybe he is different, but that doesn't mean that he's guilty.
But that's what it does mean when you're different. Nobody trusts you. You're always the first to be blamed, and it is always, always your fault.
That's not something you get over easy. It's something that takes a lot of time. But what I love is that as they both grow and they start to kind of work with each other more than just beside each other, you really start to see how they kind of bring out the best in each other. Inuyasha makes Kagome feel strong and confident. She makes him feel like he can be vulnerable and express himself. Although, like I said, it takes him time, but he does it. And there's actually a scene in the very final season where Inuyasha tells her that with the danger that's going on, he wants her to stay in the modern time to protect her. She tells him, no, I'm going to go with you because I want to. I have things I need to do. I'm going to stand beside you. And instead of telling her, no, you're going to do what I tell you to do, he tells her, okay, if that's your choice, then I will protect you with my life. So he's become respectful of what she wants to do, while at the same time amending what he's going to do to fit it. And I just really think their relationship is a very good example of an evolving relationship because it doesn't stay the same, it changes. And as the series goes on, you really see them grow from adversaries to reluctant partners to friends, then eventually to lovers that understand and respect each other. And really, that's how you learn about love. I mean, you learn about love the hard way. It's not an easy thing. And I think this series really tackles very well what that means. Now, I am going to spoil the ending here for you guys. So, like I said, I'm spoiling the crap out of it. So, one of my favorite aspects of this series is at the very beginning, very, very beginning, Kagome will refer to her world, the modern era, as my world. You know, you don't understand my world. We're from my world, we do this, etc., etc., etc. By the time we get to the end of the series, the well seals, and Inuyasha and Kagome are separated for 3 years. She continues on with her life. She doesn't shut down, but you can tell she's not happy. She continues through high school. She graduates high school, but she's not happy, and you can see it in the animation on her face, the way they do her eyes and everything. But the main thing to me is that there is a scene where she goes to the well, and we find out she's been going to the well, if not every day, almost every day, seeing if it will reopen so she can go back. And in that scene, she refers to her world. She says, now I'm stuck in this world, a world without Inuyasha. She stops calling it her world because her world has become Inuyasha. And then the well reopens because she openly confesses, I want to see you. I want to see you, Inuyasha. The well opens, presumably for the last time, and she's staring down it, and she has to make up her mind. And this is probably another one of my favorite aspects of the series. Her mother comes down, and her mother has been very supportive of her through the whole series, through all this crazy stuff. Kagome just tells her, look, her mother can see the well has reopened. And Kagome just looks at her and says, Mama. And her mother, tears in her eyes, puts her hands on her shoulder and says, go on. Her mother chooses to let her go because that's what she wants. And when she jumps through the well, Inuyasha is waiting for her. Love it. I love it. Like I said, it's not perfect. There's aspects of this series that I totally get why people get frustrated. I totally get why they get angry. But for me, like I said, the main thing is I think this is a brilliant way to show an evolving relationship and show characters evolving and changing and choosing to change. It goes from a not so healthy to, honestly, at the end, I would call it a very healthy relationship by the time you get to the end. But it was a process to get there. Okay, so I probably gushed enough about this couple, and I think you guys kind of get the idea. My main thing, like I said, is the evolution of both the relationship and the characters. That's why I love this series so much. It's got action and stuff too, but that's my main love for it. And I think I will close out this video with actually a clip from the very end, and it's one of my favorite lines by Inuyasha. So thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you, Macienda, for letting me do this with you. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure that you subscribe and leave a comment or suggestion. I always love to read them. And we will see you at the next video.
Kagome taught me how to smile. More than that, she taught me how to believe in people. Kagome was the reason I was able to make friends and rely on those friends, to shed tears for others, to understand the meaning of true strength and kindness. Those are all things Kagome taught me. So this can't be her fate. Kagome came into this world to be with me, and I was born for her as well.